Hi guys, this is the first episode of Out on DVD, the show where we talk about movies that recently released on DVD, as opposed to Mark and Johnny at the movies, where we talk about movies that are still in the theater. Now today I'm going to talk about Ted, the first movie that's directed and produced by Seth MacFarlane, the famous guy that brought us Family Guy and American Dad. Now, for the story. The story in this movie is about this living teddy bear named Ted. Long ago, when John Bennett was a little kid, like 8 years old, he was like a little kid that no one liked, and he had no friends, and he was lonely and all that stuff, so his parents bought him a teddy bear. And that teddy bear became his very best friend, but wouldn't it be nice if the bear could actually walk and talk for real instead of just being a toy? So John made a wish on a shooting star, and yes, there was a Christmas miracle that brought the bear to life. And the bear became his best friend and all that stuff, and that's all good because he was a kid. But now that we fast forward to the future, John is now 35 years old, having his job, getting drunk and stuff, and he still has his living teddy bear. Ted is also grown up now, and he's also like boozing it up. He's smoking on gongs and everything. He's screwing random girls and having wild parties. It's just weird, wild, crazy stuff. Well, the thing is that John has a girlfriend named Lori he's been going out with for 4 years, so now she wants him to get all serious and commit and grow up and let Ted go. So the thing is, can John really move on with Lori? Can he really leave Ted behind? And if Ted is left behind, how can a living teddy bear make it on his own? Can he get a job and all that, you know, because he's still a talking teddy bear, right? And we got other factors here and there, like Lori's creepy boss that wants to sleep with all the women he works for. So he's like, Lori has problems with her boyfriend. I gotta tap that. So we got all these little complications here and there in the movie, and it's worth checking out. And now for the characters. The three main characters are John Bennett, played by Mark Wahlberg. We have Laurie Collins, who's played by Mila Kunis, who's the same girl that also voices Meg Griffin on Family Guy. And yes, she's that girl from that 70s show. And Ted, who's also voiced by Seth MacFarlane himself. And if you listen closely, the bear has a voice that's kind of a mixture of Peter Griffin and Stan Smith and Stewie and all of that. Now, John Bennett is, he's basically a guy who never really grew up. I mean, yeah, he works and all that stuff, but he basically cuts out of work to get high with his bear, and he's just watching TV, and he's just sloppy. He's, basically, he's a guy who has to kind of grow up and everything, but it's hard to because he's with Ted, so I guess in a way, Ted and John are kind of a bad influence to each other, but deep down, he's still a nice and decent guy. He really loves Tori, and he really wants to have Ted as his best friend. So yeah, he's a decent guy, you know. And as for Lori, well, she does a good job. Mila does a good job playing her as a serious girlfriend that really does love him. And, I mean, she just wishes that he would grow up and I guess move on up with a better job or more money or whatever, so they could, like, live together, maybe get married and stuff like that. But I like her. She really likes the guy. She really respects him and everything. And considering the fact that she has this creepy boss after her, she still turns him down and everything. So it's a pretty good. She's a good character. And as for Ted, well, I don't know. I can't really say he's lovable. I mean, he's got a mouth on him. He's a smart mouth little guy, and lots of swearing, screwing girls. He's just wild and crazy. He's kind of surprised because now all of a sudden John wants to like get rid of him, and now he has to live on his own. So it's pretty interesting there. But yeah, he does a very good job, and the CGI looks very good on the bear. I mean, wow. I mean, I would believe that it really was a bear walking around. It didn't look fake at all. The detail, I mean, it was very good CGI work on him. And now for my opinions. Well, for the movie, it's kind of hard to say. I mean, it was a comedy and it was kind of funny, but I really didn't laugh, if that makes sense. I don't know. I mean, I guess like there wasn't really anything that made me laugh out loud. That's the thing. I don't know. I don't get it. I mean, yes, I was kind of loving it with the bear doing all this stuff and banging the girl in the supermarket and all that perverted stuff, but I don't know, nothing made me laugh. And don't think I'm not a fan of Seth MacFarlane's work, because there's parts in Family Guy that make Johnny and me just laugh like idiots, but nothing really happened here. So it's kind of interesting. And the movie did take a very serious tone, because there was like this whole thing about, the lesson of growing up and leaving your childhood toys behind. And there's like serious questions like, like the magical bear, how does the magic work, like what happens if Ted gets ripped off, stuff like that. So it does have a serious tone. It's not just a straight up laugh out loud comedy. And like I said, it has lots of raunchy humor and all that stuff you would expect from Family Guy. There's whores, there's drugs, there's sex, there's swearing. I mean, the whore took a crap on the apartment, there's all that kind of humor and stuff like that, but I don't know. It's like, if you compare it to Horrible Bosses, that's another raunchy comedy, lots of sex jokes and drugs and crap with Jennifer Aniston and all that stuff. I mean, that made me laugh, okay? That was laugh out loud funny. And with this movie, I just didn't see that. It was interesting, but nothing really made me laugh out loud. And now, will you like it? Well, it all depends. I mean, if you're a big fan of Seth MacFarlane, Family Guy, American Dad, that kind of raunchy humor, you know, that whole pushing the envelope kind of humor, slightly racist jokes and stuff like that, then yeah, you'll probably like it. I just don't know if you'll love it or not, because like I said, I'm a big fan of those shows too, and I don't know. The weird thing is that this movie kind of did feel like a live action version of Family Guy, like a 2-hour episode or something. You know, it's like in Family Guy, Brian's this little dog is walking around and no one really freaks out that, oh, it's a talking dog. He just treat him like a normal person. And in the movie Ted, they did explain that in the flashback he became like a big celebrity, and now everything, like the excitement of a talking bear, died down. So in this movie, yeah, Ted's walking around and no one really freaks out that, oh, it's a living teddy bear. You know, so I guess it kind of follows that whole thing. And I guess my complaint too on that matter is, again, the Seth MacFarlane humor with the way they waste their time making jokes and insulting like old TV shows and celebrities, how they fucked up their careers and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, I don't know. I didn't know if I wanted to see that in this movie, because it horribly dates the movie. It's the kind of stuff that you watch it 5 years later, it might not be so funny. I mean, there was a scene where they actually meet Flash Gordon, and yeah, that is kind of timeless, but making jokes about modern stuff now seriously dates the movie. So it's kind of hard to recommend the movie. I say that if you're not offended by the kind of humor you see on Family Guy and American Dad, then you should at least check out the movie. At least give it a look and see what you think. I mean, you'll at least love it a bit, you know. You might not laugh out loud, you might laugh out loud, but you'll at least like it. So the only people I don't recommend it to is, again, if you don't like that sense of humor, if you don't like, you know, sex and drugs, horror, that kind of stuff, and you know, you don't laugh at that kind of stuff, or you're like easily offended, then the movie's not for you. But bottom line, if you like Seth MacFarlane and all his stuff, it's a movie worth at least looking at least worth checking out. I would probably rent it instead of just flat out buying it, but it's still worth a look. And as for Seth MacFarlane, he did a good job. I think it's kind of going beyond just a 30-minute cartoon show to make it like a movie. He could do it better, and well, we'll see if he does another movie and how it'll turn out. So anyways, guys, that's the end of this episode. I'm Mark Rodriguez, and I'll see you on DVD.